So, good evening, everyone. So, for tonight, we will be having our lesson for special needs education. Basis These are the historical and the conceptual approach of special education. So, first, let us check what are these things. So, we are now on our midterm lesson. It's lesson 5 already. I hope we've been doing well since the preliminaries. So, let me ask you, in your own opinion, what is special needs education? So anyone could write down uh their own definition. So I will just post questions along the way because I know you would need that. So the question number one is, what is your own definition of special needs education? Uh, I don't want you to look in the internet or Google your answer. Please make it your own sentence. So next, in this slide, we will be talking special education. So special education is specially designed instruction to meet the unique needs and abilities of exceptional students. So what are these exceptional students? We have the different spectrum. We have the high, diba? Yung high, and we have the low. So special education is a relatively new uh, part of the lesson or part of the curriculum because in the past it was not incorporated in our curriculum or sometimes meron siya sa DepEd pero it's not really given emphasis. When you say about special education, you would be thinking about the Sped. If you would be hearing the word Sped, you would always be thinking about those students who have higher IQ, yung mga magagaling talaga. So, for tonight, we will be talking about historically, people with disabilities were placed in hospitals, asylums, or any other institution that provide or have little education. So, what would happen to us if this specialist education was not discovered? Although it was discovered, but hindi siya nagawaan ng paraan katulad nung nangyari ngayon. So, let's talk about the Greek and Roman. So consequently, 'di ba, if you would be talking about Greek and Romans, you would be talking about Plato, Socrates, and all the great theories, all the great minds. But please, let's ano muna dito ha. Sino ba nakapanood sa inyo ng ano? Who have watched the movie 300? Yung 300, yun yung ahu-ahu. That was one of the example of this. So, consequently, the Romans and Greek have this philosophy. Ano ang mangyayari sa'yo if you have a special needs? They left you on the hillside to die or they throw off or lockdown kayo or ano yung down, kinapalumsan. And, for example, if it was found out that the mother is bearing an imperfect child, the father had the right to terminate that child. And, you see, deaf, blind, and children had little more chances. So, okay lang. Pero if you have deformities, that's a big no-no. So, according to the Old Testament, this is also one of the big dispute because it is said that, ano to? God created man in His own image. Ibig sabihin, God created man perfectly. There would be no disability or impurities. So, if you have disability, you cannot go to places like the synagogue, yung mga churches, or even you go to the king's palace. So you are hidden because you bring shame to your family. So sa New Testament naman, Jesus helped disabled person like the blind, di ba? Miracle. Disability is a less fault or an evil side. Ibig sabihin, if you were possessing a disability, that means you are what? You are one of the legions of the devil. The devil has sent you to bring curse to the family. But along the way, they are given assistance. And from time to time, they are the ones who have been the recipient of the miracles of Jesus Christ. So let us check this one. So angels, mastering revelation, benefit of us, children of this. You are devil child, the demons intercourse with the devil. So, ibig sabihin, pag may Down syndrome ka, you are being looked at this way. Okay? So, let's talk about the Middle Ages. This is one of the most, I think in the history, ito yung pinaka challenging the part because why? Number one, being in the Middle Ages is one of the darkest times. So this was there was a rigid caste system. Ano ba yung caste system? So, do you know what is a caste system? Kung sa atin sa Philippines, this caste system is called dato. Aliping sa gigilid, aliping na babahay. Kung ano pa, meron tayong hierarchy in life. So, ibig sabihin, if you are part of those case na masyado mababa, kawawa ka. So, those with disabilities were used as servants or fools. Ibig sabihin, what do you mean by fools? They were part of those servants, but sometimes they're considered as fools. Yung ano ba na, yung park clowns. Some were still put to death. So, why did they, kasi nga, from time to time, to show people that you are in power, you need to kill someone. So that's why yung mga person with disabilities, sila yung ginagamit para parang target shooting. Parang gano'n. Sila yung pinapatay. So, dwarfs are used as clowns. Overall, they are ridiculed for their deformities and behavior. Kasi nga, di ba, these people are special. So, what do you expect? Some of them would look funny, some of them would not look good. Okay, sino nakapanood dito ng ano? Who watched the movie The Greatest Showman, di ba? I know it was not part of the Middle Ages, but it is one of the example how people use these people with deformities. They were used in a circus. They were used as for entertainment purpose. And though people are gaining money, these people are gaining money, but they do not. Listen, they do not use that money. So if you would be watching if you were watching the Greatest Showman, it only shows the positive side of the story. But if you have time, you look at the history of the Greatest Showman, yung person doon, ewan ko sino yung bida doon na lalaki. You look at his biopic, and it was very, very far from the reality. Sa Greatest Showman, he is being depicted as a very good person. But in the reality, if you would be, please take time to read, it is not good. The situations, the living situations, and how he threats or treats the people around him, especially those people in the circus, are not very good. So let's talk about the Renaissance. So this is the Renaissance. Ito yung ano, diba, the time of enlightenment. Because this is the era of asylum. Catholic Church accept those with disabilities as wards of state. They have been cared in isolation. They, okay, ito siya. Some of those people with deformities, hindi lang naman sa royal family, ano, it's not just in the lower case, but also some of the royal family. So that's why they know what to do with this and they know how to deal with it. So they were cared for isolation, but there is no education. They are just being treated as ano, human. Pinapakain, binibihisan, that's all. They're just being treated as human. But this is not like our time sana they are treated as a normal person or parang uh there's a there's a standard on how to treat them. They just fed them. fed and clothed them. Hanggang doon na lang yun. Because they believe that once disabled, will always be disabled. Parang sa kanila, there's no room for improvement. So let's talk about educability. So without education, there is no humanity because as far as we know, what with education, with research, therefore humans will flourish. So diba, as you have read in the news today, because of the pandemic, what will happen to us in the future? These 2 to 3 years without face-to-face education, we are expecting a 40 trillion loss on economic boost. So, ibig sabihin, my God, what will happen to the Philippines in the future? We would be suffering from the economic loss of 40 trillion for the next 20 years. At ayun. So please read those articles. So, according to this, si John Locke sabi niya, there's no human and half human. Because diba, some of those special abilities naman is, they are physically, physical manifestation. Some of them they look like mermaids. Some of them were very tall. So because people just watch them as part of the discrimination, they just discriminate them. Oh, bakit ang taga niya? That's not normal. Bakit bakit ang liit niya? So ibig sabihin, maybe the person's parents is one half dwarf and half human. So all knowledge comes through the senses. So sabi nga ni John Locke and ni Effie Condillac. So first experiences. So let's talk about Pedro Ponce de Leon, 1578 in Spain. He created the first documented experiences. Oh, ito siya, tingnan nyo, about education of deaf children from nobility. So, si Abec Charles Michel de AP in Paris created the Institute for Swords, the Institute for Deaf, and the very famous Louis Braille invented the Braille script. Thanks to Mr. Braille, lahat ng hindi nakakakita, nakakabasa. So let us talk about the pioneers of special education. We would be talking about them one by one. So we have the ITARD boy or the wild boy, si Seguin, si Montessori, si De Crowley. So here are some people who they are the forerunners of the special education, diba? Si Maria Montessori talaga, perfect talaga. She is not just, she just not caters the normal people, but also the special children, diba? So let's talk about John Mark Gaspar Guitart. I don't know how to say his name, but you look for the proper pronunciation. So he's a French physician and educator. He's one of the earliest teachers who argued that special teaching methods could be effective in educating disabled children. So between 1801 and 1805, he used a systematic technique to teach the boy named Victor how to communicate with others and how to perform daily living skills such as dressing himself. So the basic. So let's read this. So you pause this video so that you could read the observation. So what are the five primary goals of Itard? Sabi niya, because to interest him in social life, try to make his life better than before. Improve awareness, so gumagawa siya ng environment that the boy would feel safe. But just make sure there's a freedom, but those freedom are what? Those freedom are limited and controlled by Itard. To extend the range of ideas, so they introduce him to games, culture, teach him how to speak and communicate using symbols or the following. So exercise operation in mind, physical ones from St. Paul. So ginawa niya yun. So here are some of the results that happened to Etard. So there was a little improvement, but there's a failure also on those experiments. So we could say that maybe Victor had an autistic syndrome or mental retardation, but he has an abandonment issues. So let's talk about this. So for your assignment, please write down these are the five bases of special education in individualization, emotional attachment, specific materials, structured content, and segregation. So my question is, why do we need to have these five needs first? Bakit cater mo na itong five needs before you could move on in helping the child become a normal, not just normal, but a functional person in the society. So this is 100 points.